Welcome to an episode of Future Bites Exploring Tomorrow's Trends. I'm Susie Battarago, president of Culinary Tides. We'll be exploring emerging trends, uncover why they happen, and offer navigation tips. This episode highlights a trend of ghost kitchens. And so let's begin. Why ghost kitchens are dead. First, we have to look at the original birth pattern. The parents of ghost kitchens, when they went national, was actually around COVID. And it's called a bachelorette birth because there's primarily one parent, which was COVID-19. Ghost kitchen drivers included mainly two things. One, they supported distancing and safety at the time during COVID. And second, it was convenient. Yelp was the one that first announced that 3,000 restaurants had tagged themselves as ghost kitchens during that time, meaning they either offered delivery or pickup. And then Grubhub and Technomics also showed that 41% of independent restaurants operated what they called virtual brands or ghost kitchens. 68% report their virtual restaurants are permanent, and 46%, again, this is back during COVID, plan to open 3 or more concepts at that time. So industry was fully on board with ghost kitchens. Unfortunately, they were only looking at the benefits for themselves, which included it was a really affordable way to grow the business during COVID. They needed less staff, less overhead, more profit, and also was a great way to expand their brick and mortar locations. But they did run into problems. The high cost of delivery was one of them. They had trouble finding and affording labor, quality labor. And also they had the challenge of marketing an invisible location. And what they weren't paying attention to was consumer drivers. So during this time, inflation was really causing the cutbacks, not COVID-19. And while ghost kitchens did serve a purpose during COVID, when the restrictions were lifted, ghost kitchens then had no benefits for consumers. If they couldn't replace the psychological benefits of staff interaction at the restaurant, they missed seeing their friends, they missed going out with family. So consumers started cutting back on QSR, and dining out was preferred to delivery. So ghost kitchens really offered no advantage. At that time, Yelp said reservations started rising. In fact, they rose 107% over the year to Q1 2022 when those sanctions were being lifted. And searches for takeout were down 31%. Why? Because they didn't want takeout. They wanted to go out physically and be in a restaurant. They also showed that communal dining rebounded, 97% of increase in consumer interest in dinner theater. They were looking for buffets, they were looking for dim sum, all of those searches were up. Next Insurance also found that 71% went out to eat and sat inside the restaurant, while 32% also went out, but sat in some of the outdoor seating that was so afforded at the time. Blue Dot also showed that the reasons for not using restaurant apps as far as takeout and delivery, along with ghost kitchens, missing menu items, the food was cold, they had a long wait time, lack of efficiency. They started visiting fast casual restaurants more. Why? There was good seating, they felt it was good quality, and it was affordable. But at this point, fast food restaurants started dropping. Why? Because they didn't want to go through a drive-through. They had 2 years of that. They wanted to be back out at restaurants. There also is a competitor to ghost kitchens that rose even stronger around 2022, and that is the opposite, which is the idea of open kitchen concept restaurants. So what open kitchen concepts offer that ghost kitchens can't? So they offered theme-based dining experiences, which is exactly what consumers were craving at the time. There was an emotional connection, not only between diners, but to the staff, being able to see the chef, behind the counter cooking. It was a form of entertainment. It was fun. It also led to the idea that they had increased satisfaction in the food. confidence in experimenting, trying new things. And it very much was the symbol for transparency. What it did was it afforded the consumer to feel safe, grounded, and increased trust. So out of Sydney came respondents to a survey that they conducted that open kitchen concepts included fun, it was entertaining, they thought it was cleaner, they had a sense of trust, being able to see both the chefs and the food being prepared. Liverpool also showed that open concepts offered a form of entertainment because you're looking at the cooks at work, so it's the ultimate transparency. And then Harvard also did an interesting experiment where consumers felt that just because they could see the chefs and see the kitchens, their satisfaction rose for no other reason than they could see what was going on in the kitchen. They also felt that service was faster, even though it actually wasn't. Something about watching it, it made the time go faster for them. And their satisfaction rose 10% just because it was an open kitchen concept. So it's looking at the future. They're shifting strategies now. What's going on with ghost kitchens is, as you know, many have shut down. They're narrowing the focus to just chains so that if it is a ghost kitchen, consumers readily recognize the name. They're developing locations that are more visible, and they're adjusting to promoting dining in. So ghost kitchen, you can't have actual dining in, but offering outdoor seating is their version of promoting dining in. And so that's a wrap. Couple thoughts I'd like to leave you with. One, ghost kitchens, you can't replace the vibe of eating out. Ghost kitchens can't match the fun of going out, enjoying the cool atmosphere, chatting with friends, and having great service. And that's why those numbers were dropping. Industry was too focused on what was the benefit for them. They were not watching the drivers for consumers change. Delivery isn't always a win. By the time a delivery order arrives, it can be soggy, cold, just not as fresh. Ghost kitchens rely originally 100% on delivery, which is why they're changing how they're approaching things. And trust issues even now are real. People want to know where their food is coming from and who's cooking it. That lack of transparency from ghost kitchens makes it hard for consumers to feel confident about what they're eating. And that's a wrap for today's Future Bites. Follow us below for more insights into tomorrow's trends. If you want to continue the conversation and learn how to stay ahead of trends, go ahead and contact us through any of the avenues I have listed here. And this QR code is for you. If you want a copy of the slides, absolutely, we are happy to share these slides with you. So you can reach us through the QR code or any of these avenues I have here. Thanks so much.